Welcome in, everybody. Hope you all had an awesome week, and let's get right into it. This week, I decided to work on a couple of easy wins that, as you can see, are making things look much better. Instead of adding in more custom movement modes, I opted to focus on getting our aim offset working and integrating jumping into the game. Testing is just so much more fun when I can sprint and jump my way around the map. So, with that being said, let's cover the first step, integrating our aim offset into the project. For those who don't know, an aim offset is when we rotate the third person character so that other players can see where we are actually aiming. This is a feature in every modern shooter I've ever seen because it gives the player much needed information about the enemies they are fighting. So, as you can see here, our aim offset consists of these five poses, which represent us aiming at negative 90, negative 45, 0, 45, and 90 degrees. We have this hooked up in our animation blueprint for third person so that it will be applied to whatever animation we are in the middle of. Aim offsets are what is called an additive animation, meaning that it is applied on top of another animation. If it wasn't additive, we'd have to have a separate aim offset for every single animation, which would be an absolute nightmare for developers everywhere. One interesting thing to know about aim offsets in an online game, though, is that due to compression, Unreal packs angles in a 0 to 360-degree space instead of the negative 90 to 90-degree space that our aim offset is looking for. This means that instead of negative 90, you get an angle of 270, which can result in a really annoying bug where the aim offset works perfectly in standalone, but not in networked games. It's one of those things that if you know about it and adjust for it, it's really easy to deal with, but if not, it can be a big waste of your time. Thankfully, though, I know all about that issue and how to fix it, so our aim offset is working great, as you can see here. We then get into the next step, which was implementing jump. The first task was to add input processing for the jump button. Although right now all it does is make our character jump, this button will do a whole bunch of things once we have crouch, prone, and slide implemented. I then went into Blender to visit our faceless friend again to make some jump animations. Typically, jumping is animated in a split jump format. We first have jump start, which needs to be a very quick animation and plays right when your character enters the falling state. We then have jump air, which is a looping animation that plays over and over again when our character is in the falling state, or in other words, when they are in the air. Last but not least, we have Jump Land, which is similar to Jump Start because it is another very quick animation, but this time it plays right when the character is no longer in the falling state. For Jump Start and Jump Land, we can get away with just playing the forward one no matter what because the animation plays so quickly. This will give us a slight boost in performance, and it means I don't have to make left and right, which definitely makes my life a lot easier. With that being said, though, Jump Air needs a left, right, and forward animation as well as a blend space because it plays for much longer and on a loop. It would feel very wrong if no matter what way you were moving, it looked like you were jumping forward. So there's no getting around that if I want my game to look good. So then we apply all of our animations, but what we're left with is a jumping mechanic that feels just a little bit off. The best way to describe what you're seeing here is floaty, and I'm very particular about the feel of movement in games, so that is just not going to work here. So, how do we fix this? The answer is to borrow from a mechanic that has been in platformers everywhere since Mario. All we need to do is change gravity to be weaker when we are in the process of gaining height in our jump, and make it stronger when we reach our maximum height in the jump. As you can see, this tiny change makes such a massive difference in the final product. and now our jumping mechanic looks a lot more professional. Now that we're all done, we can take a look at the final product, and things are looking so much more dynamic than they were last week. I'm one of those people who is constantly jumping around the map when playing FPS games, so this is feeling so much better to me now. As for the week ahead, we're going to try and tackle a giant feature in aim down sight. Although we could start adding more custom movement modes, aim down sight impacts every single one of them, and therefore it is going to be much more efficient to get aim down sight working first. There's camera swapping and all sorts of complexity in implementing aim down sight, so I'm not sure how far I'll get before next week. But as always, we'll see how it goes. With that being said, I've been Steve. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next Sunday.